Well, hello, my name is Andy, and this is our Shining Star. Probably the most common piece of equipment you're gonna see in the kitchen these days. Company name coupe. Probably the most popular model on the market you can find. R2 come in a few variations. We have a R2 clear, R2 dice, R2 Ultra, and I think it's R2 just by itself. Anyway, the only difference between those three models, which is the clear, R2 and R2 Ultra, is this quality of the bowl that comes with it. Basically, R2 clear comes with a clear bowl. R2N, I think that's the proper name for that one, comes with a gray bowl, and R2 Ultra comes the most fancy version of the unit with your stainless steel bowl, which is basically the best choice you can make by purchasing one of those units. Everybody in the kitchen business uses those units, from small cafes to restaurant owners. They're super duper quality units. They really last a long time. Super easy to operate, last a long time, and they really do the job. I mean, and for the size of the unit, it's really a quality product. Market price on your basic unit, it's probably at $1,100 out of the door, tax included. Well, you have to account for the inflation these days. It's probably a little bit more now. But I would say that's about it. You can get them for a little less on eBay, so unless you get lucky and get the open box unit or return and so on for maybe $800, you know. But as with everything in this world, if you buy something from eBay, you just never know what you're gonna get. Anyhow, that unit came from eBay. So your typical R2. R2 clear, as it states on the bottom. You can see the plaque over here. So that unit originally came with a clear bowl. Well, I got it for cheap. I got it for close to nothing. And today what I'm going to show you guys is how to replace this, which is your basically power cord on that unit. Very often people are not familiar with those units. They don't know what they should do with it if anything breaks, how to fix it. They're pretty straightforward. They're really easy to repair. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, people posting repair videos on different models, but nobody really show you how to deal with those guys. And this is basically, to me, the most popular unit in the kitchen. If you have any catering company, restaurant, or cafe, you will find those all around. And I'm myself a caterer / repairman, technician, who's venturing more into repair these days because I gave my life to food for the last 15 years. It's exhausting, it's tiring, and I'm coming from a perspective that, you know, you learn more in the food business. How does unit operate? What needs to be done and what needs to be addressed when you have them versus a tech? Because tech, all they know is how to fix them. Us, as a food guys, we know a little bit more about it, and basically gives you better perspective on it. And I'll be addressing those issues and ideas in other segments of my videos, referring to other pieces of equipment. I work mostly on gas equipment, ovens, ranges, fryers, and so on, and dishwashing equipment, specifically CMA low temp dishwashers, and I'm gonna post quite a few videos about repairing those units, refurbishing them, putting back in circulation. Anyway, what we got over here is a typical R2 unit. Unit was pretty wear out. The guy said the unit doesn't work. The cord was cut off, as you can see in the picture. There's nothing left out of it. The seal on the top of the unit, which basically seals the top bearing, it's also messed up as well. So here's the thing. Those units are basically bulletproof, and they really fail in 3 different aspects of it. I've learned over the years, working on them myself, having several of them myself. there's few things that can go wrong with them, and when they go wrong, people basically kind of give up on them. They're like, oh no, it's gone, it's broken, it's burned out, doesn't work, motor doesn't spin, I'm done. It's not like that. Those machines are really simple to fix. Anybody with any quality technical skills, I mean anybody who has handy skills, can really address that, and very often there's barely anything there, and it will cost you a few bucks to get it done. So don't give up just because your robo coupe stopped working. So from my perspective, the most common problem with those units are three things that usually go wrong. Number one, top bearing of the machine goes out. So as you can see in the photo, the video over here, this is your top seal for the motor. Those three dots, those three holes right there, are bolts that hold the motor in place. Right underneath there, it's your top bearing. Bearing costs $5–7 to get a new one, but you know, very often people don't know how to get into it or how to fix it. How are you gonna find how your bearing goes back? Okay, number one mistake people make is this: you do not replace your seal. The seal on the top of the unit protects the bearing from dirt, grime, water, liquid. Every time you blend something and there's some stuff spills and gets into it, that seal on the top of that prevents it. If you don't change your seals in 5–6 years, it stretches, gets overheated, liquid gets in, and that bearing that's on the top of the motor start going out. You will notice it start getting noisier, louder, grinding sound coming out of it, and next thing you know, your unit stops spinning and start making a buzzing sound. The little dot on the bottom of it, which is your basically, how you call that? Oh my bad. I had it on top of my tongue. Okay, it's a reset button, but what it is basically a prevention from your motor going to hell, burning up. It's a fuse, and that fuse, it's a thermal fuse. So basically when your motor gets too hot or pulls out too many amps, that thing right there pops out. So as long as you have that, your motor won't burn. It will just basically stop working. So this is the stage where most of the people just give up and say, forget it, man. It's gone. It's, you know, the motor doesn't work, doesn't spin, overheats. The fuse kicks in and burns out, whatever. I don't know. So very often they just trash it, just like this guy. You put it on eBay, say, oh, motor doesn't work, cord is cut off, whatever. All I need to do, get an extension, connect those wires together, test it, it works, no issues. Actual bearing is still okay from the sound of it. I will test it afterwards and find out exactly. Second problem, right here, the little black dot. People probably wonder what it is. It's a basically on and off switch. So most of the people get confused because they say, oh, I got it on here, off here, and the pole's right here. So that probably controls the unit. No, not really. Once you put the ball on top of the unit, right here, and you lock it in place, you have a ball lid, which basically will send a pin right in the center of the unit, right here. The black little dot, it's a rubber seal. And that's what actually activates the unit. Even you press the on switch, if you don't lock the ball in place and you don't close the lid, you won't be able to start it. Those things are notorious of going out. But it's a cheap fix. It's really easy to repair. And very often people just give up for the same reasons. Like, oh, it doesn't work, I tried to start it, blah, blah, blah. You know, you spend $1,000 on the unit and you use it without problem for 4 or 5 years, I get it. You're kind of like, whatever, I'll get another one. It's $1,000. It's $1,000. I mean, it's a great unit, so why trash it? Think about it, you know. Get some answers, look it up online, see what other people think about it, and then deal with it. Anyhow, I will address this issue earlier. I show you guys how to access it, how to replace it. It's super easy. It's literally 2 wires and 2 screws to remove that switch, and 4 screws to get into the bottom of the unit. So we have upper bearing, safety switch, and here's the third thing. Very often, and I learned by trial and error actually, quite weird because it never happened to me before, but I got 2 units that had broken wire, broken cord. Not outside of it, it actually had breakage inside of it. So the neutral was actually broken. The white cord, white wire right here, it was actually cracked somewhere along the isolation along the cord, and I was struggling like crazy looking up. I was like, what the hell is going on? I check everything, I check the switch, I check all the connections, everything is, you know, okay. But the weirdest thing was, it was not getting power. I'm like, what the hell? Like the power was going through the cord, like you can get the hot was getting hot, but that was it. So hard way to find out it was actually the cord itself. Anyhow, today I'm gonna be replacing the cord. So that's what you guys are gonna learn. I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's quite easy. It'll take probably 15 to 20 minutes to get it done. And it's probably anybody's job, anybody can do it. Few things you're gonna need. Here is one. Sure, you can go online on eBay and order a new cord from, you know, or even order from manufacturer for that sake, and pay 50 bucks for a cord. It's just a cord. So here what I'm getting. I'm getting a cord from Home Depot. Super heavy duty. It's a Husky. Gauge is 19, and it's a 9 feet long cord. So you get an extra couple of feet of length, because this thing actually comes with 6 feet of cord, which is better because you can plug your unit somewhere else. And here's the thing. This cord originally is only 16 gauge. So you get a thicker cord. It's like, oh, it's gonna fit, you know, the hole might be too big. But if you look at it, that hole is actually small. I mean, bigger. So it actually can fit that cord. So in that cord, it's a Husky. It's called 9 feet tool replacement cord. It's 15 amp rated, 14 gauge. I think it stands like 300 volts, and I think the heat on that resistant, which it's kind of important. You want to make sure that it's a cord that can handle certain heat parameters. I think on this one is 90 Celsius. That's what it is. Let's see here. It's water resistant, blah, 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 and so on. Let me double check over here really quick, just to make sure. Anyway, that cord is super heavy duty, will really do the job, and it's pretty straightforward replacement on that unit. And we'll save a bunch of money, you know, versus going to La Tech and trying to replace it. This cord costs only 15 bucks. Most of the cords online you're gonna look out, it's gonna cost between $35 to $50, $70. This is only $15 out of the door, tax included. So this is 75C, so 75 Celsius. That's fine enough. This cord is already stripped. A standard plug just plugs into the outlet, and that's all it is. So we got a cord. Next thing you're gonna need is this funky tool. It's a torque screwdriver. Here's the thing about RoboHook. Older units, when they manufacture them, they're made them with Phillips screws. So in order to remove the screws that go on the bottom of the unit, which are basically plugged in by these things, your feet, you get 4 of those. Those feet are gone. You know, whatever is left of them is just a piece of rubber. You need a screwdriver or knife just to get in there and just pop them right out. Once you pop them out of the holes, you see the openings right here. Use your torque screwdriver. This is T20, apparently. You know, I mean, I found it the hard way, you know, searching for tools and stuff like that. I think this is 6 inches long. That's what you're gonna need. Here's the funky thing about the RoboHook again. So you would think, oh, okay, so they use this size screws for everything. No, apparently not. So most of the screws inside the unit are gonna be T20 torque size, but the switch, the safety switch I just mentioned, the black one, sometimes on the older units, it's actually connected by a smaller size torque screwdriver. And I have it somewhere over here. There we go, what's left of it? I mean, I broke the handle for some reason. I think I left it in the oven one time. It was a pizza oven, it's a funny story. I was doing some work over there, and basically I left the whole screwdriver in the cavity of the burner accidentally. And they called me, hey Andy, you know, we smell something burning over them. And we look in and your screwdriver was left in there. So the handle burned off, but the actual screwdriver is still there. So torque screwdriver, correct mindset. So I don't really know what size is that thing. It only comes to play with the older units to remove the safety switch. Not all of them have that. It's smaller in size, I would say by 1/3. If you look at the size of the torque right here, it's a little smaller. I am not really sure what size it is, but I keep it just in case. I use like a pliers or something to remove that. Anyhow, T20, 4 screws, we go in, we unscrew the bottom of the unit. Be careful, don't lose those screws, because it's, you know, not something you can just find on a, I mean, I can probably replace them with a regular Phillips screws. That's what Robocoupe used to use in the past. But why? Why go to the store, look for them, you know? And you want to make sure all 4 of them are in place, secure, because what happens is, basically, if you lose one and you only have 3 holding up, the bottom part is loose. Anyhow, so here is the thing. I removed the screws. As you can see, this thing is hella filthy. Somebody who ever used it, abused it, you know, for quite some time. Make sure all the screws are loose. There is no tension on the bottom of it. You don't want this to like, you don't want to rip this out of the base. Basically, it's what it is. It's only 4 screws. And gently pull on it. Okay, now, here's the thing. You can see the screws coming out of the assembly. Once I flip it over, they're gonna come out. Anyhow, the base is connected by 4 screws, and this thing right here, which is your temperature, not sensor, but basically fuse. The thermal fuse, which is on the bottom of the unit, protects the motor from burning out. Anyhow, in order to remove that fuse, I always recommend carry a can of WD-40 with you no matter what, for anything. I love that shit, works on everything, it's really good. What you need to do, spray a little WD-40 on that little knot right here that holds the fuse in place, just to, you know, make it easier on yourself. This is what it looks like, just to make sure, show you guys. That's the fuse right here. It's got a little knot on it. So pull gently so you don't break it. And now all we need to do is get some kind of pliers. Any pliers will do. And what you do, you grab from the inside on the actual sensor or fuse, and you grab it right here. You grab your nut with the pliers, and you slowly unscrew that nut. It's out there. It's because of the grim and dirt. You know, people use them, they don't clean them, and next thing you know, it's just all stuck. Yeah, sure, use a socket wrench or whatever. Anything will work. It's only a couple threads, and basically you remove the bottom of the unit. Okay, so we got this out. This is what it looks like. This is your safety switch, preventing the motor from burning out. You can hear the screws falling out of the assembly. We're gonna clean all that stuff. We're gonna use some heavy degreaser, wash it in the dishwasher, make sure it's nice and clean. We're gonna pick up all the screws, make sure nothing is lost in translation over here. And yeah. 2, 3, there's the 4th one, for God's sake. So I'm saying you have to be cautious over here because you don't want to lose it. I have extra ones just in case from previous units I was working on, but you just don't want to lose that because at the end of the day, why go and buy something that's, you know, already in there? I don't know. Basically disappear. Let me double check the openings over here, maybe get stuck over here. Nope. Anyhow, as you can see, this is pretty disgusting. You got oil, grim, and dirt and everything in there. All that stuff needs to be washed off and cleaned out. I'll probably find a sport screw somewhere. Hopefully they fall on the floor. But as I say, in case I need it, I have another one. Anyhow, this is an older unit, not that old. That unit utilized Emerson motor. These are probably the best motor that RoboCoupe put in the units to begin with. Right now, all the new ones I've seen, the design really didn't change at all on the R2s. I would say only the R2 dies. The new ones utilize OEM Smith motor, which is not as good. I've seen them going out all the time and they burn. Here's the thing, even they have the sensor and stuff, they just go out, they just don't last. It's the weirdest thing ever. Anyhow, as I say, the bearing on this unit is still okay. I'm gonna replace the seal later on, but today I'm just gonna focus on replacing this cord. So here we go. As you can see, the cord was cut off, somebody just messed with it. And the only thing that holds the cord in place right here are those 2 screws and like a little piece of plastic that make, you know, it basically helps you to secure it in place so when you pull on it, it doesn't get ripped. And that plastic is secure with the same size screws, which is the Torx screws, T20. So all you need to do, use a Torx screwdriver, 6 inches long, and unscrew them. And the length of the screws, it's I think exactly the same as the one goes on the bottom, but I'm gonna verify it in a second. It's been a while since I changed the cord actually. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. So you remove those 2 screws, you remove this piece of plastic that secures it in place. It's like a squeeze tab basically, and that's all it does. It secures the cord in place so it doesn't get ripped every time you pull on it. Now, here's the thing. As dirty as it is inside, you don't have to worry about it. It's just grease. It got in there probably from the opening on the top or sides or whatever. You can wipe it a little bit with a towel and so on. Double check the condition of the wires. If there's any burn wires or anything is damaged or kinked, look at it. But other than that, don't bother with anything else. I'm gonna use a little bit of grease and wipe all this grease from the inside and edges of the cover, and that's pretty much it. Now, next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trim some of the wire over here because I have a cord that's already 8 feet long. It's plenty now for connection. And I'm gonna reconnect that. And the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna use your typical simple design. We're gonna use just an electrical connectors like that and electrical tape. Sure, somebody says, oh man, shortcut, we should remove the whole cord, reconnect it, put a new electrical tabs in here and so on. Why? No point. Nothing will happen. You're isolating the cord, you isolate the wiring, so there will be no issue. I don't see a problem with that. It's a lot of work. If you want to go in there, I mean, you have hot, neutral, and ground. So you will have to basically connect with the special tabs like this, you know, or like this. I have the high temperature connectors like that. I have no issue with that. But it's just extra work. It's pointless. So all you need to do is leave probably good, I would say, this is probably a good 10 inches of cord. And that's what I'm going to leave. Now, cut the rest off. Because you never know. You might need it later on or something for some repairs if something happens, so on. I know the cord needs to be changed. You don't want to leave too little, but you don't want to leave too much. You're getting, you know, this thing in there anyway. And I'm going to show you. This is actually thicker cord, but look. It fits right in. So this is 16 gauge and this is 14 gauge. It still fits. The opening is just big enough to fit this cord, and it's a stronger cord, thicker cord, can take more amperage, more power, no issues. It won't affect the operation of the unit. It won't affect the operation of that thermal switch right here. So, you know, and I have a unit actually over here that's also RoboCoupe. It's I think it's RS2Y or something like that. It's an industrial unit. And the motor is exactly the same size and the same horsepower, but the speed of the motor is higher and the amperage is higher. So that motor actually comes with a thicker cord. It's weird. The Robo Coupe made some modification. It's unusual model. You're never gonna find them. It's really hard to find them. They never come on the market. It's basically used in the lab settings. It's it's kind of unusual. It comes with a stainless steel bowl, and it's used for like blending stuff in the labs. I have one of those. I bought it on eBay a long time ago, and it's a great unit. It spins much faster, and yeah, and takes the thicker cord. Anyhow, so I'm gonna drive this cord, the new cord, through the opening right here. I'm gonna reconnect it to the existing cord right here. So as I said, I'm gonna trim that because it's way too long. I don't need that much cord space, cord leg in a unit. In order to do so, two things you're gonna need: a wire cutter, heavy duty one, because that's quite fitting, and a wire stripper. I got this one too. It probably will work just as well. It's a little smaller opening, but this is much easier. It really cuts the cable like there's nothing to it. So as I said, I'm gonna leave